like the currency of like fame in and of itself as a desirable thing. Like people go, man, I want to be rich and famous. Like take rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, famous is not gonna make you happy.
Yeah.
It seems like it will because it's like, oh, people will like me and know my name and kind of know who I am and I'll feel like I've done something. I think a lot of times what happens is if it doesn't come with a real sense of like achievement or accomplishment, it actually feels hollow and empty and like bullshit and undeserved.
Do you think you wanted to start directing because it gave you even more of a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Is that a weird question? But does that make any sense?
No, it does make sense. I wanted to. I wanted to fail on my own terms because I had gone through some movies where I was like, I don't like this, I don't agree with this. But you got to do how it's like playing a football team, whatever. You got to run the plays that the coach sets up. You know what I mean? They're gonna run a draw play, get the ball and turn around and run a sweep right because they're not blocking that way. You know what I mean? It's just that's not going to work, right? So that's how. That whole art form is sort of structured by and large. And what I found was, I had a real strong sense of the way I wanted to do it. Yeah. And when it didn't work, when it worked, I didn't feel great because it wasn't me that had that feel. I didn't feel like I didn't feel proud of it. And when it didn't work, I just felt pissed off. Like, fuck, I didn't want to fucking do it. God damn, I didn't want to, I said it, I knew it. And that's a terrible feeling. So I'd rather fail on my own terms or succeed on my own terms. And that's where I kind of got into directing. And I wanted to do it even when I was younger. And I just didn't have the confidence. And at a certain point, I kind of had nothing to lose. And that was really what kind of gave me the courage to take that leap.
In the directing, you mean?
Yeah, because as an actor, I got real cold and had a couple of movies that didn't work. And then, all of a sudden it can be kind of over for you. That's why it's a tough business. Fuck yeah, man. There's no seniority, there's no tenure, there's no retirement, there's no gold watch. If your show doesn't work or your movie doesn't work and nobody wants to hire you, they're just gonna hire someone else. Yeah. There's 130,000 people in SAG and there's only 30,000 people that work every year, right? And then there's an even smaller amount of those roles where you have more than 2 lines. So it's very tough, right? And so if you're not, people aren't watching, and they're not coming, or it's not interesting, see you later.
Have you ever made a movie that you didn't put out or that wasn't put out?
Oh yeah. Early on, I made a bunch of movies that were independent movies that they didn't have distribution. They didn't have a studio that said, okay, we're paying for this, and when it's finished, we're going to put a bunch of money in advertising because you got to spend a bunch more money to advertise a movie after you make it,
right?
Or at least and that's one of the big things that's changing now. People are like, okay, how can we do this in a more intelligent way? Because all that money spent on television commercials is just wasted now. And that's why I'm here. This is a much more effective way to do it. You know what I mean? And
yeah, dude, it seems exciting. Well, here's the thing. I think when you tell me that it's good, I honestly think that I believe you that it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth. The movie's really good. I wouldn't be if you had a movie that wasn't good, you kind of do a few of the basic things, and because look, it's going to turn out it's going to be a bell curve one way or the other. The better you are, you're going to move your bell curve a little bit further down and have a better chunk of movies. But I got about 12 movies that I really love and I'm proud of, and about 25 that are I like this, I didn't like that, and about 10 or 12, whatever, that are that's fucking terrible. I hate this. I can't watch it. And it was awful. And when I did independent movies, sometimes they just didn't get distribution. No one wanted to put it out, or I went to a film festival. I haven't had movies that were so just something so terrible happened when the studio already was making it that it wasn't put out. But you have they changed their plan. You can kind of see, oh, now we're gonna shift to this or that. Now you can put something on streaming and you don't. It used to be you were going to go out theatrical, so you kind of were naked. You just had your, you know what I mean? And if it didn't work, everybody knew because they say, look, this movie made 10 cents this weekend. And, you'd want them to take the fucking billboard down. You drive past the billboard the billboard's get to the bomb, the movie's a bomb. You know what I mean?
You're up there at night in your Batman costume, just painting over it with a big one of those big paint reachers.
Tell me about your movie with Dave Spade. Who do you play? What is it comedy?
Yeah, it's just bus boys. It's he's a guy. He's just we're just two kind of dumb guys. finalize or whatever. We just got the first edit through, so it's like I'm watching it right now.
Let me tell you, like that first cut of the movie,
And
like
it's
when I
scary.
see the first cut of my own movie, I want to kill myself.
Really?
So like you should not go crazy seeing the first cut and not like it. I almost have never, like now I have a company and we make a bunch of movies, and you know the first cut, this is one of the only movies where the first cut came in, I was like, it's great.
Really?
90% of the time you're like, okay, we got a long way to go. It's a very iterative process. They get better, and more work is done after you finish shooting to make it good.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I'm
done
doing.
So what
I'm
I
meeting
would
with
do
an
if I was you
editor
is
next
go in and
week.
sit down
Yeah.
and be like, this is what's supposed to be funny about this scene.
Right.
Like, and explain it to them what you think is funny and is good, because it may seem obvious to you and it probably doesn't to that person. Like you can lose track. But you go, look, the reason it's funny is because you think we're going to do this. We know this about us from the first, whatever scene. And when it come in, it's that take where I like yelled at the guy. That should be a surprise. Like, you'd be surprised how often it's hard to
Thank
put
you
a
for
cut
saying
together.
some
Go
of this,
in
dude.
and,
Yeah,
and
it's
tell
been
them.
tough because I've been spending my nights like watch, and now
And it feels shitty too to put all that work into it and look at it and go, what the fuck is this?
Oh,
right? It's
dude.
the worst feeling in the world.
It feels fucking horrible because it's like I'm very particular about like what I create. Like you said in the beginning, it's like I like to make things. I know what I want. It's like I know my intuition, and if I fail on my intuition, then that's exactly where I want to fail because that's pure to me, right? Like that's okay.
Yeah, and like that's what you want to do, great.
Right.
But it's a very tricky thing for other people to
know
like
that.
get you.
Yes.
And to know, you know what I mean? Your
That's been
sense
my
of humor,
problem my
your
whole life.
worldview is all obvious to you, right?
Yeah.
But it's just not to people. So a lot of times you have to spend more time than you would have thought literally going, here's what should be funny.
Right.
If you can explain the joke, like you're a super funny guy, funny comedian, you understand comedy very well. So you can sit and break it down to him and go like, you got to know this about it. What's funny is that, we didn't expect me to do this.
Right.
Or that's a callback to this other moment. Or the whole thing that when I did it, what I thought was funny is this take where I did that. Like, because on the set, I'm sure, if you're doing a comedy and you shot it, you had moments where you were like, that's funny, right? I think that's funny. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's literally about going back into the dailies and saying, like, okay, go find the close-up or find this two-shot. Or the thing where I said to David, and David looked at me like this, and whatever. That was the one where I left and thought, that works. Like, there's no mystery or magic to why they're doing it a different way. They oftentimes just need feedback. This is not like sculpting or writing a novel. It's not a single person, it's collaborative. It has to be collaborative, right? If I'm directing a movie with you in it, and it obviously is going to have your comic sensibility, like, I got to know and get what's funny to you, or I'm not the guy.
Right.
And I'm going to need help along the way. Any director is going like, so how come, what do you imagine about this? Or what do you think, you know what I mean? Like, that's why you have to explain it and sort of talk about it, because that person's got to understand all those things that made you be funny in the first place and start going, oh, people are laughing when I say, oh, these are funny. You know what I mean? And you've put it together and professionalized it. But like, you got to share that with them. Otherwise, really. And then this is also where people sometimes get into fights, of course, because people's ego gets in the way. But ego will kill you. You have to be able to hear, I don't care what you do. You have to be able to hear like, this doesn't work. This is dog shit. Because the audience will tell you. You know what I mean?
Right, that's the thing. And it's like, I'm not particular, but I just know what kind of has worked,
That's valuable because not everybody does. So what you have, right, is that awareness. You don't think about it. You feel it, right? You're like, that feels funny. Or when you see something, you're like, that feels wrong. Like makes you uncomfortable, right? You see.
Yeah.
So that is a thing that's unique to you, right? So you need to like give them access to that and get it. And when and if somebody's going to like take it personal, it's not personal. Like it's your, and what David thought was funny, like, okay, like you have to be connected in that way, and you have to understand that it's not about like, okay, fuck you guys, now I'm gonna go make my vision of this thing.
No.
That's a disaster.
No. I just think like, like this is why this was written this way, and this is why it's funny. And so this is the first time that we're like more hands-on with it.
Well, then you should definitely be hands-on, because by the way, no one's gonna do it for you.
Right. Oh, I agree with that
too.
too.
On its own, man. It's gonna get better if you get in and work on it. And by the way, you're gonna see it again, and you're gonna have to go, okay, closer. Now let's try this. Let's try that. And then again, the way movies like get better really is iterative. It's like coats of paint. You know what I mean? You got to keep on going. It's like a good paint job on a car. It's like 12 coats of paint. That's why it looks good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do movies take a long time to edit sometimes?
Yeah, 26 weeks is the post-production schedule for most movies, right? That includes music
half
and
of
sound
1 year.
mixing. Yeah. And it's longer than the production schedule. You're trying to grab everything you can during production. It's more expensive every day to shoot. Editing is, you rent the editing room, the facilities.
We needed an owl one day. We had an owl, right? This bitch, it was $1,100 an hour.
For an owl?
Yeah, it was like a semi-endangered. I don't want to say endangered or whatever, but it was like
Do they charge more if it's like, you know what I mean? Like if you can get a chicken, they're not endangered. You can kill that chick, just cut its head off. Yeah. That's $10.
Like,
but
hey,
for the owl,
you can get a tall chicken.
No one's gonna know the difference. You can take the chicken, break its neck, and he's turned around.
You can get a tall, curious chicken. We'll give you that.
And so I think maybe that's just like one of those things where it's like, what's the rate for owls? You just get to make it up if you sell owls.
It's just it's like, God, you get into there and there's just all this animal entrapment. What else was I thinking about? Would you let your children, I want to talk to you a little bit more about directing. So, because Argo you directed. Right? And did you care about the Middle East that much? Were you like a Middle East guy? I knew I've read some.
Not really. I did study the Middle East in school, and so I understood about it. I wouldn't make a movie that I didn't. It'd be like making a movie with you and not getting your humor, right? Like it would just be crazy. Like as the director, you got to care more, be more interested in that movie than everybody else. Everyone else is going to be bored of it, right? And you got to love it the whole time through. So the big key is like, this is going to be interesting to me. There was a lot of things that were interesting to me about that movie. One was the real story, the CIA agent who had done it, the people that I met and talked to at the CIA, the actual nature of like intelligence work versus, you know, what you have seen with a like super spy shit. That's not really realistic. And this story was really interesting to me. And also I thought it was like the fact that they had this like bizarre connection to Hollywood and this Hollywood makeup artist and that we were trying to bridge those two worlds was really interesting to me. But it was a scary, challenging movie because the director's main job is tone. Right, like that's what the director is going to really create is like, what's the tone of this? Like, what's the vibe? Is this serious? What are we interested in? Like, what do we consider funny? What do we, all those things that go into all the choices we make in life, from the car you get, the clothes you buy, all that. What is your taste? And not everyone's going to like it, right? Some people, it's just not going to be their taste. You got to at least make it as good as you can to your own taste, to, like you said, your own instincts.
Yeah, you got to find that tone that matches, because people want to believe they're going to expect a certain tone from you as well. I think
Yeah, and when that tone doesn't work, you're like, this is kind of crass, cheese, fucking, you know what I mean, corny. It's like it seems silly or whatever, and it's like because you're asking someone to take something seriously that they can't take seriously, or think is funny that they don't think is funny, and that's where it's a tricky kind of nebulous job, but that's the most interesting to me, important thing about it, and that's